Hello, my name is Rachel Dytell. Today is March the 3rd. Today I'll be presenting to you my strategic communication plan. So the introduction. Interpersonal communication is an essential aspect of our lives. The effectiveness of our communication skills can significantly impact our personal and our professional relationships. In this presentation, I'll introduce to you my strategic communication plan and outline the key points. The definition of interpersonal communication, in my own words, is exchanging information between two or more people with openness and honesty, involving factors including gestures, expression, and our tones. Throughout this course, I have become aware of my communication flaws, which I like to call character defects. I actually learned that term from Celebrate Recovery. My strategic plan is to become aware of these defects that come in about communication with others and to stop that behavior as I realize I'm not communicating as I have learned to do through this class. Next, I plan to take a deeper look at my behavioral blends profile and discuss the positive as well as the negative attributes of my personality, which influences my communication patterns. It's important to do a continuous work within ourselves for continuous self-improvement. I'm also going to go over my barriers to healthy communication, as well as goals and strategies that I'm putting in place and that I plan to reach by implementing these changes. The key point here is my strategic plan, which is to listen. But not just to listen to respond, but to genuinely, wholeheartedly listen as the talker is communicating with me. Finally, I'll be discussing steps that I plan to take to apply these strategies to my life and how I plan to hold myself accountable. So the behavior blends profile. I have a passive role and I am an introvert. My temperate styles do not vary much on the point scale of the two different graphs. So this could also mean that I have difficulty being flexible and adapting to others. My graph similarities mean that I'm comfortable overall with my behavior in general. I've had to learn that as I have grown and matured, that there are times when I need to be assertive or demanding when necessary. Most of the time in a professional setting, maybe sometimes through parenting. Otherwise, I can be easily overlooked because I'm mostly quiet. According to my behavior blends, I should work on things like being assertive and being more enthusiastic. Interpersonal communication in friendships is a challenge for me to overcome. God created us to have an emotional relationship with others. I do find it very difficult to open up to people or talk with others in general about personal issues or struggles. I don't like talking with people about my issues or struggles. I have been unable to improve in this area most of my life, and it desperately needs some growth and communication with those who care about me. As identified in my Uniquely You profile, my behavior blend is primarily a mix of passive and task/people-oriented. This blend influences the way I communicate and relate to others. My background and identity, including my cultural upbringing and personal experiences, also play a significant role in my communication patterns. The "this is me" and "this is what is expected of me" portion are generally the same. Similar graphs mean that I have the same tendencies in both public and in private. The results mean that I'm comfortable with myself and how I act. I tend to respond the same in most situations. People find me easy to read and understand. A negative to this similarity is that the personality type tends to be inflexible, and I could see that. There are areas where I may need to loosen up and adapt to challenges in a different way. Communication barriers. Throughout this course, I've discovered various communication barriers that hinder my interpersonal relationships, including lack of active listening, difficulty with self-disclosure, and a tendency to interrupt others while they're talking. These barriers negatively impact my relationships, whether I had noticed it up until this point or not. So they cause misunderstandings, and they can cause some conflict. Number 1, lack of active listening. This occurs when an individual fails to give their full attention to the person that's speaking, leading to misunderstanding and misinterpretation of their message. Peterson, 2022, states that listening well can improve how effectively you work with your business associates, your co-workers, and your community volunteers. Number 2, difficulty with self-disclosure. This occurs when an individual might find it challenging to share their thoughts, feelings, and emotions with others. This can make it difficult for those others to understand my perspective or get to know them better. Number 3, interruptions. This occurs when an individual interrupts others while they are speaking, causing a break in the flow of communication and preventing the speaker from fully conveying their message. Nonverbal cues is another one. Nonverbal cues such as our facial expressions, our body language, and even tone of voice can be misinterpreted, and it can hinder effective communication. To overcome communication barriers, I can take various steps, including improving listening skills, being mindful of their nonverbal cues, and mine, being aware of biases, cultural differences, and choosing the right communication channels. Additionally, I can seek feedback from others, ask questions, and clarify their message to ensure the effective communication. Goals and strategies. My goal is to improve my active listening and self-disclosure skills to build stronger relationships with friends, family, and colleagues too. To achieve this, I plan to use various strategies such as practicing active listening techniques, reflecting on my communication habits, and seeking feedback from people that I trust. Implementation. To implement my plan, I will set specific action steps, such as dedicating time daily to practice that active listening technique and reflecting on my communication habits. Throughout this process, I'll use principles and techniques covered in textbook materials, including Peterson and Schultz and Badinsky. So in conclusion, my strategic communication plan will help me overcome communication barriers and improve my interpersonal relationships. And I would just like to end it with a little encouragement from James 1:19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. So in my strategic communication plan, I plan to read this every day to bring to remembrance how I am going to work on enhancing my communication skills. Thank you.